Well, hello, orchid addicts of all various colors and shapes. Here is Leonard, and I'm back with you once more to present my pride and joy. The Cycnodes Vine Delight. And boy, I hope my phone actually focuses. So, my red orchid opened its first flower. As you can see, it's in full bloom. I am absolutely in love. This definitely impresses the heck out of myself. The fragrance coming out of this is delightful. Like, only this flower right now makes the fragrance. Like, all of these others don't have the fragrance yet. Only this one has a fragrance. Because it's opened first. And the fragrance, like, it is minty. It kind of reminds you of cough syrup. But for me, it also tastes, smells like some tasty dessert. Very, how do you call it? Gentle chocolate vanilla. Like, I don't know, pudding or something. It is sweet, it is gorgeous, but it also smells like some cough syrup. A slight reminiscence with cherries, also like different berries, but mostly peppermint, I think. And what I love the most about this bloom is the lip. As you can see, it's very waxy, very thick. And I looked at pictures with a couple of different cultivars of Vine Delight. And by far, this is the, straightest lip, so to speak, that I have seen in the pictures, because many of the other variations, like the lip goes a bit downwards, like on the sides, like the Mormodi's sinuata parent does. So maybe because of this, the fragrance in the various cultivars may be different, because for some people this smells like cherries, for some people this smells like raspberry bubble gum, for some people this smells like pure cough syrup without sweetness. So very amusing orchid to have. I'm really thankful to Miss Orchid Girl to making a spotlight of this orchid, because this is an utterly outstanding orchid. And the flowers are not small at all. They're not huge, but they're really nice, and considering I have 10 flowers on 2 flower spikes, I think this is well enough to satisfy, considering this is the first time this flower is blooming, this orchid. And the plant itself, it's quite hefty, as you can see. Today is also a bit gloomy, so I don't think you can see the color as well as you possibly could. But I'm planning to make a better photo session when the flowers open fully and there's a sunnier weather. The flowers are really waxy, and they feel like summer blooming phalaenopsis, or maybe even phalaenopsis leaves. They bend, but they're also really hard, And I think when the sun hits the flowers and the orchid more, the fragrance is going to be much more potent. It's only this flower is blooming, and I can already feel it slowly, but surely taking over my room in the morning. The first thing that I felt this morning when I woke up was the fragrance of this flower, because it's next to my bed, so I'm really freaking happy. Everybody needs to get this orchid. It's also really easy going. It's a very strong orchid. It's not finicky at all. I mean, if you give it enough water and sunshine, it will be an absolute beast for you. The only downside to this, this orchid is kind of susceptible to all various kinds of pests and parasites, so you need to take a close look out for those. Would definitely not recommend growing it outdoors, although it could appreciate the sun. So yeah, get this orchid. I would have made a video spotlighting this orchid sooner, but it so happens to be that I don't have a decent camera, neither do I have a tripod, and also the weather outside is gloom and doom, so I'm not able to actually bring my orchids outside. Neither I am able to get some good lighting through my windows. The orchid has already begun to fade, as you can see. It's been blooming for a little over 2 weeks already. Wow, it ejected its pollen. Ooh. And yeah, it's an utterly gorgeous, like maroonish, like vine colored flower. Truly deserves its name. It's utterly a beautiful shade of red. Like, I can't praise this orchid enough. The blooms are quite big. You can see the texture of it is like thick and waxy. The lip is very gorgeous. I'm not exactly sure of the variation of this hybrid which I have. Supposedly it's J.E.M, which is like the reddest available variation cultivar. But the lip seems to be like more like a spoon. Like while the J.E.M variation seems to have a bit on the sides curved down lip. But I'm not exactly sure. Maybe this is just like some variability that the same hybrid can express based on different growing conditions and so on and so forth. But really, if the color and shape of the flower did not impress you enough, the best part about this orchid, in my opinion, is its fragrance, and it's absolutely luxurious. It's quite powerful. It can fill a whole room. For me, it smells the most intense from like about 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It can fill up a whole room, and it's so wonderful. For me, it truly smells like cherries. But it also has a sense of menthol to it. It's like pepperminty, it's like strong minty. And the fragrance is also very sweet. When the blooms first opened, they reminded me of like vanilla and chocolate. The chocolate faded away and came like the cherries and like maybe raspberries and stuff. The vanilla accent of the fragrance still remained in this orchid. It smells like a little bit of vanilla. I would describe it like most easily to understand. It's like cherry chewing gum, like a pepperminty frosty cherry chewing gum. It's like spectacular. It's like really, really lovely. A beautiful bloom, a beautiful color, a beautiful plant, and a beautiful fragrance. This definitely deserves a first-class certificate in excellence. This orchid blooms for the first time for me, and it has 2 flower spikes and in total 10 blooms. You can see the progression of the size of the pseudobulbs. The orchid came to me last May of last year with these 2 pseudobulbs, and like this here's the seedling pseudobulb, which I presume to be its like first pseudobulb ever. It came already with a leafy growth, and that leafy growth didn't exactly extend much longer and matured into this one. Nevertheless, like a bit thick. And like this year, it created this humongadonga pseudobulb. It's really, really impressive. Like, I'm truly amazed how vigorous this orchid is, and like at first it created the leaves, and then it slowly matured like the pseudobulb, like across like 10 months I think in total it grew. And right now it's the middle of November, and it's starting to slowly go into its dormancy, and you can see its leaves are yellowing. They've been slowly shedding for a couple of months now, and I'm going to let these leaves drop on themselves. Like, I would be really happy if the orchid will be able to suck up all the energy from its leaves, so it would be able to have a more strong and vigorous growth when it's going to decide to exit its dormancy. Also, one interesting thing I'm really considering about this one, it has been said that many Catasetum flowers are single-gendered, and this apparently is supposed to be a male, because the male flowers have the more showier blooms. But let's take a look at flower anatomy. You see these ridges behind the flower. You see it's a bit thicker, like here, and it has ridges. Those are the ovaries of the plant, ovaries of the flower. So this is not a single gender bloom, and like I don't know if I'll be able to capture it, but look, do you see like that opening above where the pollen is on the orchid? That's where you would insert the pollen. So I am absolutely convinced this is a two-gendered or a perfect or a hermaphrodite flower. So I'm actually thinking about trying my hand in pollinating and growing some seedlings, shockingly enough. And I am thinking to pollinate this orchid with itself. And here you can see I already pollinated this flower. I picked the one which looked the most fresh. I took pollen from its tip and I inserted it in the opening. And hopefully the seed pod is going to start to develop. It was horribly awkward for me to be able to show the process to you because like I have only one free hand. So I think this is fair enough. It's something to show you, so yeah. And an interesting thing about this orchid is, this is an intergeneric Catasetum hybrid, and the two species which went into making it were, the mother was Cycnodes lechmani, and the father, pollen donator, was Mormodis sinuata. And it makes it a primary hybrid between two species. And what happens when you breed primary hybrids with themselves? They're able to have the highest amount of recombinations. What that means, like they inherited traits from their mother and their father, and if they hybridize with themselves, they can recombinate these traits in any matter of shapes. The Cycnodes parent, it was like pale green color and really big flowers. And the Mormodis parent was like this color but really small flowers. And I think if I can breed it together, I could have, like, basically speaking, one of the variations which I could potentially have as a humongous flower which has red color, and boy do I want that, so I'm gonna try to do that. And as far as I can see from the progression of the soda bulb growth, this one for me is supposedly like a 4-year-old plant. And that's really not a lot for orchids to be able to reach mature size. So I think if I'm gonna grow some seedlings and actually be successful, they're not going to take me a whole lot of years for me to receive my first blooms, which is super duper exciting, like oh my god. And if I'm going to pollinate this orchid with itself, I suppose I'm going to be like able to harvest the seed pod in about 3 months. So I think that's going to be ample enough time for me to be able to get all the equipment and the agar and the medium and like all that stuff. And the most important part of like sowing orchid seeds is just like a sterile environment, really, that's it. Like it needs a really nurturing medium which is gel based, but like that's not a big issue really, and it doesn't take so much. Also, if you were a bit upset about me not doing very good job about capturing the splendidness of this hybrid, don't be concerned, because I'm going to insert plenty of pictures from when this orchid was a seedling to when it started producing its flower spike to when it's in its full bloom. I got some pretty nice pictures which my phone can't like really reflect in its video capturing. So I suppose that's a wrap. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe to my channel if you're interested in further videos of my orchid collection, and don't be afraid to comment and share with your opinions, maybe if you have the same hybrid or maybe any suggestions you could have to me in the future. So thank you for watching. Bye bye.